You've been in that moment, the quiet hum of a meeting room, a friendly gathering, a classroom. Then a name is called, yours. All eyes turn. You stand up, and as you draw a breath to speak, your own voice sounds foreign, a little shaky. First, you feel a cool drop in your stomach, a tiny internal lurch like the start of a fall. Your heart gives a sudden hard thump against your ribs. But then, something else begins. A slow, unstoppable warmth starts to bloom high on your cheeks. It's a feeling you can't command or dismiss. It spreads like a rising tide toward your ears, a deep glow that feels as visible as a spotlight. This isn't a choice, it's a reflex, an ancient program running on its own schedule, faster than any conscious thought. Your body has just taken over.
So what just happened?
Deep inside your brain, in a small almond-shaped cluster of cells called the amygdala, a social threat has been detected. It doesn't matter that there's no physical danger. To this ancient part of your brain, unwanted social attention feels like a predator's stare. An alarm signal flashes instantly to the hypothalamus, your body's command center. The hypothalamus doesn't waste a second. It forwards the alert down to your brainstem, which hits the big red button for the sympathetic nervous system. This is the fight or flight network, the system that primes your body for intense action. Instantly, your heart rate climbs by 10, maybe 20 beats per minute. Your pupils dilate, just a fraction, to pull in more light, more information. All over your body, from your arms to your legs, the tiny blood vessels in your skin get the command to tighten up, to constrict. This is classic emergency prep, shunting blood away from the surface and toward your core muscles, getting you ready to run or fight.
But here is the most peculiar part.
As the lockdown order goes out to the rest of your body, your face gets a completely different memo. It breaks ranks. Instead of constricting, the blood vessels in your cheeks, your ears, your neck do the exact opposite. They get the command to open wide. It's a stunning paradox. The same surge of adrenaline that prepares your muscles for action also turns your face into a brilliant, vivid billboard. This isn't just a slight relaxation, it's an active, dramatic flood. Under the skin of your cheeks lies a dense, specialized network of vessels designed for exactly this. It's packed with tiny shortcuts called arteriovenous shunts. Think of them as secret floodgates. In an instant, these gates swing open, allowing a huge volume of warm, oxygen-rich blood to bypass the deeper capillaries and surge directly into the paper-thin layers just beneath your skin's surface. The red you see is nothing more than that warm blood suddenly brought right up to the window. You feel this change as a wave of heat because it happens so incredibly fast. Within 10 to 20 seconds of the trigger, while you might still be trying to say your own name, the first hint of pink appears. Within a minute, the blood flow in your cheeks can more than double, sometimes even triple. Scientists have measured this precisely using laser devices that track the speed of red blood cells just under the skin. It's a real, quantifiable surge. This rush raises the actual temperature of your skin by a tiny amount, only about 1/4 to 1/2 degree Celsius. On a thermometer, it's almost nothing. But your facial nerves are so sensitive to rapid changes that they register this tiny temperature spike as a powerful, burning sensation. The peak of this glow usually arrives about a minute to 90 seconds in, and then, as the internal alarm fades, the vessels slowly return to normal over the next several minutes. You can feel your voice steadying as your face gradually cools. How do we know this command is carried by nerves? The proof comes from a rare condition that splits the body's response right down the middle. The signal for blushing travels up the neck through a bundle of nerves called the sympathetic chain. It's the same electrical highway that tells your heart to race and your palms to sweat. If this pathway is damaged or faulty on one side of the body, that half of the face simply doesn't get the message. In people with what's known as Harlequin syndrome, the result is astonishing. When they experience a trigger, like exercise or embarrassment, one side of their face will flush a deep, fiery red, while the other side remains perfectly pale and dry. The same trigger, the same brain, but the signal only lands on the connected side. One story tells of a young athlete with the condition. After sprinting on a cool day, he stood with one cheek bright red and beaded with sweat, the other as pale and dry as if he'd been sitting still. The very next day in class, when a professor called on him unexpectedly, that same perfect half blush appeared again. The chemistry behind this is just as fascinating. The main chemical messenger of the fight or flight response is adrenaline. All over your body, adrenaline's job is to clamp down on blood vessels. But the vessels in your face are wired differently. They have a special set of receptors that, when hit by that same surge of adrenaline, are biased to relax and open up. It's a custom installation, a feature, not a bug. This is likely why certain medications can interfere with it. Beta blockers, for instance, are drugs designed to block some of adrenaline's effects, primarily to slow a racing heart. But because they dampen the entire sympathetic surge, they can also soften the intensity of a blush. This is a well-known trick among some performers and public speakers who use them to manage stage fright, effectively turning down the volume on their body's alarm system. So why does your body have this strange, paradoxical, and very public reflex? What is it for? Over 150 years ago, Charles Darwin himself was captivated by it, calling blushing the most peculiar and the most human of all expressions. And that's the key. It's a signal meant only for other humans. A blush is, above all else, an honest signal. You can't fake it well, and you can't easily suppress it. That involuntary honesty is its entire point. It's a biological leak that tells the group, "I am aware that I have broken a social rule," or "I am aware of your attention, and it affects me." It signals that you care about the opinions of others, which is the very foundation of trust. This isn't just a theory, it's been tested. In multiple studies, researchers had participants watch someone make a mistake or a social slip-up. In one version, the person who made the error visibly blushed. In another, they didn't. Over and over again, the observers judged the blushing person more favorably. They rated them as more trustworthy, more likable, and more sincere. The blush acted as a non-verbal apology, an immediate and uncontrollable admission of self-awareness. It's as if your circulatory system is doing emergency public relations for your reputation. While you are fumbling for the right words to say, Your face is already broadcasting a powerful message. I know this is awkward. I care. I'm one of you. Perhaps the strangest feature of the blush is that you don't even need other people to be there. You can be sitting completely alone in your room and trigger the entire physiological cascade just by using your imagination. Simply reliving an embarrassing memory, or even just imagining a future scenario where you might be the center of attention, is enough for your brain to hit the alarm. Your amygdala doesn't distinguish between a real audience and the one you've conjured in your mind. The nerves fire, the adrenaline surges, and the blood vessels in your face open on cue. And this is a truly universal human trait. Though its visibility varies, the underlying physiology of a blush happens across all skin tones. Instruments that measure heat and blood flow can easily detect a powerful blush on skin where it might not be obvious to the naked eye. It's a response we all share. It's important to know what a blush isn't. It's not the same as the chronic redness from a skin condition like rosacea. It's not a menopausal hot flash, which is driven by different hormonal signals. And it's not the flushing you get from alcohol or a large dose of certain vitamins, which are direct chemical effects on your blood vessels. A social blush is a specific, fleeting event triggered by your brain's interpretation of the social world. It's a precisely timed, nerve-driven response to your place within the group. While the exact mix of neurotransmitters is still an area of active research, the big picture is clear. Your brain sees a social risk. Your nervous system flips a switch, and your face tells a story. So the next time you feel that unmistakable heat pouring into your cheeks, take a moment. Instead of fighting it, picture what's really happening inside: an ancient alarm, a paradox in your blood vessels, and a set of tiny floodgates swinging open on command. This isn't a flaw in your system, it's a highly evolved feature. While your conscious mind might be struggling, your body is sending a clear, honest, and deeply human signal that you care what others think. It's an involuntary act of connection, a message written in blood that is quietly working to protect your place in the world. And after it passes, you can take a steadying breath and carry on.